Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This one is for Monday the 10th of June going through until Sunday the 16th of June 2024. I'm going to go through each day of the week to see what the planets are doing and how they'll influence us. And then I'll go through each sign of the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces to give you a specific message for your sign. And my horoscopes are based on the sun sign. So what I noticed about this week is that we have a lot of Gemini energy floating around. So it's a great week for confidence, learning, understanding. If I had to assign an archetype to this week, I would say it's the professional academic, and the unknowable becomes knowable this week. So you're gaining a lot of knowledge and understanding here. On Monday, the 10th of June, we only have one significant connection. We have the moon in Leo. The moon is the way you feel. It's what's easy, accessible. And in Leo, that's a sign about being in the spotlight, taking charge of things, pioneering ideas and bringing other people along. So you do have this natural sense of confidence on Monday. And then it sextiles Mercury, the communication planet, in Gemini. So Mercury is very happy in Gemini because it rules that sign and it encourages you to express your own ideas. So Monday is a wonderful start to the week because you do have great confidence and you will want to explore something that's unfamiliar and new. So if you're a writer or an artist, Monday is a great opportunity to publish or self-publish any of your work and to get things done. If you are in a position of leadership or you're the senior member of staff or you're the CEO or the boss, it's really easy to get your point across and to influence other people and to get them on board and to get others to support your ideas. So I would even say it's good if you're a politician then. If you need to interview or update your CV, or you want to write the first page of a new book, anything that kind of requires some confidence and to express things in a way that is accessible, you'll be able to articulate yourself very, very well here on Monday, the 10th of June. On Tuesday, the 11th of June, we have the moon still in Leo, and it now forms a square with Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is really the planet of what is unpredictable. And in the sign of Taurus, it really is a positive influence as far as I'm concerned, because it kind of reminds you that the circumstances in your life as they are now don't always have to be that way. And it gives you a great sense of control and it presents you with other options so that you can make changes. The moon then also trines Chiron in Aries. Chiron, the wounded healer, is encouraging you to take charge of things for a greater sense of healing within, or kind of to prove to yourself that you are resilient, and if you want something to change or you want something to be completed, you can make that happen. And then it also sextiles Venus, the planet of beauty and connection and love and creativity, and the sun in Gemini. So if I'm looking at your natal chart in a personal reading, I look at the ascendant or the rising sign as the default, what you already embody, right? So if you're in a crisis, you often react the way your rising sign would. And the sun is what you're striving towards, and it's what gives you the greatest sense of joy and fulfillment. And with both Venus and the sun in Gemini, which is an air sign, which is a masculine element, nothing here says to self-censor or to bite your tongue or to look at things as impossible. It's very youthful and optimistic in its approach, and it says that if you have a desire, a passion, you can make changes and you can improve your circumstances. And then finally it quincunxes Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. And that's the conviction that if I do have a dream, if I do have a vision for a particular circumstance in my life, whether it's work or relationships or travel, I can make this better for myself and I can get what I want, basically. Venus in Gemini then sextiles Chiron in Aries. So that is me expressing things and getting them from within here out into the world. That's going to heal me, which certainly you can create a moment where, do you know what, I expressed this, it went down very well and it changed my future. But also watch out for kind of oversharing here, especially to people who may not have your best interest at heart. And Mars in Taurus squares Pluto in Aquarius, and that's amazing because Mars is the red planet of ambition. In Taurus, it's very grounded and practical. So if I want something, I know exactly what I need to do to get that to happen. And with Pluto and Aquarius bringing in all these new ideas, you're both inspired and you feel confident to affect change. So that's the key thing here on Tuesday. If you've been pushing for something to change, or you've wanted to get something ticked off, with the help of others particularly, you're likely to have a satisfying breakthrough here on Tuesday the 11th. You can trust your own assessment around things, and you may be able to change a very complex problem into a very simple solution by applying your insights and what you've analyzed and the conclusion you've come to. So it's also likely that you'll make a new and significant connection with someone you hadn't known before, so a new person, or an area of study, information that you're not so familiar with. You form a connection with that, and it really enriches your own experience. On Wednesday, the 12th of June, we still have the Leo moon in the morning, and that quincunxes Neptune in Pisces. So I have permission to express my own hopes and dreams, or even more than that, I'm allowed to think that my circumstances could be better, because now I have this confidence that if I apply myself, everything can improve. So you can see that all of the energy is really urging you to push and to take a risk, because improvements certainly can be made here this week. The moon then enters Virgo at 6:39 in the morning, and that's based on my time zone. I'm in the UK. So Virgo is an earth sign that's ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and that's very much about studying and analyzing things to come to an accurate answer and to get things organized, to make sense of things for yourself, that you feel like you have your bearings and you can take appropriate action. The Virgo moon then squares Jupiter, the lucky planet of expansion and growth and infinite potential. That's in Gemini. And I made a video on this recently. Jupiter moved into Gemini, and it's now going to stay there for pretty much the next year. So if you would like more information on that, check out that separate video I made on Jupiter going into Gemini. But the Virgo moon then also trines Mars in Taurus, more earth, more ambition, and it quincunxes Pluto in Aquarius. So this is really wonderful, because Pluto in Aquarius is all of these massively fresh and unique ideas coming in. If anyone is going to stand there with a clipboard and take notes, it's the Virgo moon that allows you to do that. So maybe do take some notes as you go through the week, because you'll have these flashes of brilliance. Take note of those so that you can use them in future if you've got, pages and pages of it. Mercury in Gemini squares Saturn in Pisces. And Mercury in Gemini, like I said the day before, connecting with Saturn in Pisces is really the confidence to say I can even express the most intimate truths that have occurred to me, and really how I feel about my life and where I'm at now. And the Sun in Gemini sextiles Chiron in Aries. So again, I would say that's this promise that if I get things out of my own system and put them into the world on a larger level and share it with other people particularly, then that's going to be something that makes me feel stronger. So at the beginning of the day, with the moon still being in Leo, you're confident. There's an element of being a showman associated with this. That's going to be replaced by diligence and low-key productivity when the moon does move into Virgo. And that's kind of interesting, because as the day goes on, there's the opportunity to evaluate and assess your own circumstances further and to gain an even deeper understanding of where you're at. If anything requires you to sit down for 10 minutes or an hour, and you want to either brush up your knowledge on a particular topic, or you want to learn something completely new, that process is going to yield great practical results. Because remember, Mars is still in Taurus here, and anything that occurs to you on an intellectual level, the gift of this week is that you can immediately turn it into something tangible and practical. On Thursday, the 13th of June, we have the Sun in Gemini forming a sextile with Chiron in Aries, so same as the day before. And again, with this connection, I would just encourage you to vet your audience. And if you are really speaking your truth, make sure that you're not delivering that to people who then may use it against you. The Virgo moon opposes Saturn in Pisces. And that's interesting because, yes, on a spiritual level, I feel connected and safe and solid and secure. But what also gives me a sense of ease and comfort and security is informing myself and then coming up with my own answer. So that's the, again, professional academic, but here on Thursday, even more, I would say the professional student who wants to know more and more and more, and then can create their own thesis around it and provide new content. The Virgo moon also squares Mercury and the Sun in Gemini, so it's all about expressing yourself, it's all about communication, it's all about changing your own outlook based on knowledge that you acquire. And then the moon also quincunxes Chiron in Aries. So if I want to feel better, I need to know more, basically. Mercury in Gemini then sextiles Chiron in Aries, and the ongoing process or promise that if I am open-minded and willing to see things from a different point of view, then I'm going to feel more confident and life gets easier. So what I mentioned before is, make sure you're connecting to the right audience. But because we have so much Gemini here now, I think on Thursday it's easy to cross the line and to become somewhat extreme with this and to misspeak, and that's likely to cause conflict even if you didn't intend to criticize or to challenge someone very strongly, right? So that kind of thing isn't necessarily just negative, because what it can lead to is a discussion which actually opens your eyes even further and deepens your understanding even more. So any kind of preconceived ideas or notions that you've got that aren't accurate, you can update those and get to a place of really making an accurate assessment of the different areas of your life. So as we're going through the week here, you're becoming more and more informed, and that allows you to make much more solid decisions and to evaluate the circumstance, whether it is a relationship or work, in a way that actually makes sense, and then that leads you to making decisions which improve your everyday experience. On Friday the 14th of June, we still have the moon in Virgo, and that now opposes Neptune in Pisces. So do I dream or do I make sense of actual information? So that could give you a sense of how I'm being over-informed here. But the good thing about Virgo is it likes as much info as possible because it is so organized. It's able to create a whole filing system of new info and not become overwhelmed by it. The moon in Virgo then squares Venus and the Sun in Gemini, and it trines Uranus in Taurus. And here the opportunity is really to change what in the past has been impossible to change, because you know so much more, the scales have tipped, and you feel so empowered that anything is possible. And the Sun in Gemini then conjuncts Mercury in Gemini. So again, if you're a writer or a teacher or someone who works with ideas and communication, if you're a researcher or an inventor, this is really your week. Your senses become so sharpened in terms of what you know and understand. The moon goes into the air sign of Libra at 7:12 p.m., so 12 minutes past 7 in the evening. And that allows you a greater connection to other people and more consideration. And really the first time this week where what's going on for another person starts to appear on your grid. So if you need to have a discussion where you are considerate and where you are listening and where it would be a good idea to put yourself in someone else's shoes, that will work very easily on Friday. The moon in Libra then trines Pluto in Aquarius. So the ongoing sense of being mind blown with all this new info that comes in and you're able to express. So even because it's so extreme, I would even imagine that if you've wanted to channel or if you've wanted to do automatic writing, all of these things support this natural flow of information and ideas. And then the Libra moon also trines Jupiter in Gemini, and it quincunxes Mars in Taurus. So you're practical, and I think the energy from the day, before, where you had a tendency to put your foot in it, but ultimately had a good outcome, that disappears again on Friday. And with the Libra energy coming in, I think on Friday there's really the potential for a life-changing event, specifically in the area of your relationships. So it's the best date, or the best day in the week rather, to go on a date or to get friends together. And, you know, if you're, I don't know, meeting up at a restaurant or you're planning a house party or something, then a good idea would be to invite your friends, but to ask them to bring someone along who you don't know yet. Because all this openness and willingness to connect can really put you in a place where you start talking to people you wouldn't normally speak to, or you may be able to express something that's quite deep or profound and that really resonates with another person, where under usual circumstances you would censor that kind of thing. It really sets the stage for you to create new friendships or important relationships moving forward. You're going to be warm, charismatic, considerate, and even witty here on Friday. So if you're a comedian or you want your jokes to land, try on Friday. It'll work really nicely. And exploring new opportunities, that process, I'm willing to try something new, that's likely to pay off both financially and socially for you on Friday. On Saturday, the 15th of June, we have the moon in Libra forming a trine with Pluto in Aquarius. So not judging a book by its cover, especially when it comes to other people, doing the groundwork for you to make new friendships and to let go of older ideas. And then Pluto in Aquarius also trines Uranus in Taurus. And that's this ongoing ability to change your life and your world and all your tangible, practical circumstances, because something new has occurred to you, and it means you can upgrade your circumstances when you take practical action. So Saturday, I would say that the ideas that you have, the ideas that occur to you, they can be classed as a life event, because when you do something with this information, you'll experience your whole world very differently. So if you felt stuck or dissatisfied with the way your life is going, this is really a week where the opportunity is, if I change my own way of seeing this first, then I'm empowered to make those changes, and fundamentally I don't have to accept anything that doesn't work for me. So whether for you that's a new business idea, or the idea to move, or you get some sort of flash of insight to invent something totally new, ideas on Saturday are going to come from within and via other people, and they're really not hard to miss. To the point where I think on some days here, especially at the beginning of the week, you may feel like, wow, I do have to take notes because there's so much occurring to me. Finally, on Sunday, the 16th of June, we have the moon in Libra forming an opposition with Chiron in Aries. So that's interesting because, one, it's do I choose to continue making sense of things in order to heal my life? Or is an actual connection to a new person, is that healing? And I think that's something that's going to be different for everyone. So if you feel like, you know, your circle of friends is a little small and you want to expand that, you'd feel better about that, then that combination on Sunday allows you to do that. If you feel like, wow, you know, I have so many people interrupting me all the time, or they need me, and I really want to work towards realizing my own idea, that too is possible. So it depends on where you're at. But the moon in Libra then trines Mercury and the sun in Gemini, and it quincunxes Uranus in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces. And that's really the willingness to be open to a new influence by another person and to continue making changes in your life so it works better for you. And finally, Venus in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces. And that's now also wonderful for things like working in some creative way, whether it's design, or you're a florist, or you want to update your own wardrobe, or you want to give yourself a makeover or a new look. It's really the dream, or what exists in your imagination, and how you can make that a real thing. So on Sunday, with all of this, there's the potential for a dream to become a reality, and not even through action steps, but by thinking it and seeing it, the action steps are presented to you, and you're able to manifest something good on this day and moving forward. So you can make a commitment to one of your own hopes and dreams. Action steps to then affect change are also supported, and Sunday is another opportunity to meet someone new who then alters the fabric of your life massively. And like I said before, there's also the the chance to produce fabulous creative work on Sunday. Okay, so let's have a look at each sign of the zodiac. Aries, you're likely to have so many unique and unusual ideas that for you specifically, it may be a good idea to take notes so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Because the great quantity of alternative options that occur to you, you may not feel any apprehension even when it comes to expressing your most unconventional and out there ideas. So on the plus side, if you struggle with self-censorship, you'll find that that isn't an issue this week. But if you have a tendency to, share your innermost, deepest, darkest secrets with the person operating the till at the supermarket, then watch out for that, because there's just so much going on for you that you're not going to assess things in the way of, is this too personal, or is this something I can talk about in public? You're much more likely to say everything that occurs to me needs to be expressed. So also look at the audience that you're expressing these things to. Taurus, for you, a financial burden is likely to be resolved, or there can be an unexpected influx of money that allows you to resolve or to complete an outstanding issue. So for instance, let's say you've got a fine for something. It's a good week to actually challenge that fine if you disagree with it, if you feel like it's been made an error. Or you find that extra finances come in so that if you do feel the fine was appropriate, that you can actually pay it and be done with it. So either way, whichever way this shows up for you, you're able to get something off your desk, so to speak. You're able to lighten the load. Gemini, you may be restless this week and so eager to express your views and opinions that you could get pushback from someone close to you or a family member who then feels it's their duty to bring you down a few notches. So Gemini, you're going to be so brilliant this week that certain people that you have contact with will think that you've got too big for your britches and you need a reality check. Or they may even be jealous that they haven't had these wonderful ideas, and why should you have all the knowledge and they don't, and that they start to hammer you just for having kind of confidence and ideas. If that happens, see it as proof that you've nailed something, that you're very on point with it. And if others feel uncomfortable or even threatened by these insights that you've got, please do stick with the idea and see that as a sign that, okay, I've obviously touched a nerve here and I can run with this. Cancer, expect to receive some very clear and specific spiritual guidance, which allows you to see a long discarded dream as an actual possibility in the present moment. So if something becomes doable, you see the potential of it, or you get the sense that, hey, this could happen for me. I didn't think that in the past, but now I do. Hang on to that and trust that it can and will happen if you work on it, if you put effort into that dream. Leo, you may feel conflicted between escaping a situation this week and resisting that impulse, or I want to get out of this situation, but at the same time, you may get this inner voice that says, don't go with that, it's too reckless, just stay put. And that can make you feel a bit torn this week. But based on your chart here, it seems that, to me anyway, that your shadow self is trying to sabotage you a bit and hold you back here. And it's not sensible. So if you see anything as reckless or irresponsible, consider that and give yourself more leeway, especially if on the flip side, there's this feeling that this is a huge burden, this is a circumstance that doesn't serve me, that I don't enjoy. I feel that it's better to get rid of something like that than to let fear of insecurity or financial insecurity stop you. So if you find yourself calling yourself reckless, just really pay attention to that. And whether it's wanting to flee a job or a relationship or a contractual commitment that you've made, look at practical options to get yourself out of a situation that you no longer want to be in. Virgo, you may find that you're doing very well in your career, but that your own opinion of your work, of your contribution, really doesn't match that. And that you may feel very self-critical this week. So, not judging your own work, but listening to how other people perceive it, can prevent you from taking that self-criticism to the extreme and even feeling somewhat defeated by your circumstances. Look at these objective reflections of your work and what you're expressing, and put your own judgment on hold wherever possible. Because Virgo, I do feel that this week, that critical eye that you've got, it's great when you apply it to information and you create knowledge for yourself. But if you turn it on your own character, your own personality, you may become overly critical and find faults where there really aren't any, or that other people don't notice these things. So watch out for perfectionism, basically, and self-criticism. Libra, this week is a great opportunity to learn something new that's going to create other options as far as your work is concerned. If you're a student or if you're retired, there may be knowledge available to you this week, which, when explored and then used, can create an additional source of income for you, or it can be the beginning of your own business or the beginning of a whole new career. Scorpio, you're going to have a great week because both your personal and professional relationships are likely to go very, very well. You may be confused by suddenly, why are all these people welcoming me so warmly? And you may also be confused by the fact that a lot of people suddenly agree with you and they're willing to work with you and they're really eager to form a stronger connection with you. So that may make you a little suspicious, but please don't be, because it's not a disaster waiting to happen. These kind of responses you get from other people, that may be the beginning of a wonderful new dynamic in your life that then can remain for a long time. So look out for anyone new that you meet who really supports you and who gives you this sense of, hey, they want me to win, they want me to thrive. Trust that. And also, if it's people who you've got in your life already, trust that too. Sagittarius, another person can really provide amazing new knowledge that you can then implement to get to a position of expertise or specialism. So for you, it's likely that the final piece of the puzzle appears via another person in your life. So for you, Sagittarius, any conversations you have this week, conversations are gold mines for you. You're also incredibly unlikely to have a difficult week in your relationships, both formal and personal. So you can really open up and trust, because other people are going to contribute wonderful things to your knowledge base, making you or taking you to the next level and saying, this is now clicked and I am an expert. Capricorn, you're going to find that there's an impulse to reveal your knowledge around spirituality. If you've wanted to express your own ideology of what it means to be human, what it means to live on this planet, and what the bigger picture is, so basically, if you have your own understanding of what life is about, then please do express this to enrich society's understanding of these kind of mysterious and unknowable themes. And you're able to make a really positive contribution that then could make other people more open-minded or get a greater sense of connection to their own spirituality. Aquarius, you're going to find that this week you may struggle a little bit to read the room, or to kind of think before you speak in a way. And you may face some criticism or backlash as a result. So you may find that you then resist the criticism, and that generally there is resistance for you this week. And that's not going to feel comfortable. But the good thing about this is that other people may teach you something that you weren't aware of about yourself, and that this new knowledge then empowers you if you're willing to face it. And also it means that you become more considerate and you're able to present yourself in a way that's either less controversial or causes less criticism. And I'm not saying to get rid of your own kind of message, but if there's something that you aren't aware of, like if you come across as somewhat pushy or rude or unfeeling, anything like that, and if someone kind of calls you out on it, then if you accept that, or at least you're willing to listen to the criticism and then have a think about it yourself, you're likely to agree with it in one way, but then also to make inner changes so that you don't appear problematic in your relationships with other people, especially if you hadn't had an awareness around it before. Pisces, you may find that you're able to settle a dispute really easily this week, especially if there were completely opposing viewpoints before. So for you, Pisces, it's a wonderful week for any kind of discussions around contracts, mediation, legal, financial matters, things with the tax people, anything like that where there's a disagreement. You're able to communicate in a way so that both parties are as happy as they can possibly be, and that you can come to some sort of joint agreement. So that's what I get for you this week, guys. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you'd like me to draw up your natal chart, your astrology chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then please order a chart rectification with me. That's a process where you send me 10 or more life events and I manually work out your time of birth, which is really important because the chart changes every 4 minutes, and the more accurate the time, the more accurate the chart. For instance, if someone doesn't know the time but still wants to have their chart done, I can use sunrise, but then it makes the ascendant, the rising sign, inaccurate. So it's much better to have the times. And if you want me to look at your chart and kind of assess it as a personality profile, which is amazing because it really tells me kind of what certain qualities you have, how you can use those in a way that opens things up, certain things that may require more work. I also look at the progress chart to see how you've changed over the years, over time, where you're at now. The transits to see what's coming up in future over the next couple of months and years. And all of those things, the natal, the progress charts, and the transits are me on Earth looking up. But then there's a process called astrocartography, which reverses that. And I look at how the planets are moving over different parts of the Earth, and that shows me which areas are really going to work for you and support you and which aren't. As in actual locations, San Diego and Amsterdam and Cape Town and Singapore, wherever it may be. So if you're interested in that, then please have a look at my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the button that says book your reading to order your reading with me, or click on the shop tab to see all of those. It takes you to the same place. I also do a daily tarot reading on this YouTube channel. So if you'd like to watch that, then please become a member of my channel. Please, if you like this video, give it a like. That helps the videos to be found. And please subscribe for future videos that I make. So I do videos on the new moons, the full moons, and the eclipses, these weekly horoscopes. And then I also do the daily tarot reading. So if you want to be part of this channel, please do subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you soon.